Hello! Today is the day that we go back to the good old land of Goodreads. I say that as if Goodreads is not actively being used by millions of users, including myself still to this very day, but I am actually a connoisseur, I'd like to say. I'm very much a veteran of Goodreads, I think is the word that I'm looking for. I have been on this platform, I think, since 2014, so it's been quite some time. I definitely have a love-hate relationship with this app. If we take a look here at my little bios, you can see my name there. Activity joined in August 2013, last active this month. My interests include books, friends, and Nintendo. I have not updated this since probably 2013. When I mentioned Friends, I didn't mean like actually having friends. I meant the show Friends. If you're not familiar with it, you've definitely been living under a rock, so sorry to say. My favorite books are the kind that scratch my brain in the right place, which fair, I like it. And then about me, yeah, this one I updated like a couple years ago, and now just most recently I've added my YouTube channel. Shameless plug here, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just kidding. I hate when influencers do that. You do what you will. I'm just here vibing. But I have a Baby Yoda as my profile picture. I have my favorite shelf sort of outlined there for everyone to see, and then I have all of my different bookshelves that are... Oh, honestly, I feel like it could be a video in and of itself. The first thing my brain went to was the mind fuck, and then the what the F was this crap, which if you guys are interested, maybe we can do a deep dive into all of my bookshelves at another point. But today's video is going to be all about roasting my old reviews on Goodreads. So again, as you can tell, I've been on this platform a little too long. Just for some context, I would have been 12 years old in 2013. So I'm currently 24. It's been 12 years. I consistently wrote reviews pretty much, I think, since like 2015, maybe 2016. So pretty much the entirety of my lifespan on Goodreads, I've been writing reviews. And let me tell you, prepubescent Kasia really got into it. Like, she had her thoughts, she had her opinions, and she had a lot of time. So I definitely teetered off, I'd say, in the last couple of years in writing such lengthy reviews, but I really love looking back sometimes on my old reviews to see what I thought of things. So I thought, what better place to do that than with you guys? So without any further ado, let's begin. Here we can see 312 reviews out of 344 books that I've read. So to be honest, I don't fully, in my opinion, Goodreads is not the most user-friendly. I know that this platform is sort of hotly debated in the bookish community, booktube community, whatever. So I feel like it's gonna be interesting to figure out how to work out this app. So let's figure out, okay, so Red, yes, definitely want to see the Red book, obviously, because I want to see what I've reviewed. I would like to organize it by date. Okay, settings, ascending, descending, date, Red, yes. Ascending? Save current. Does that change anything? Okay. 20, okay, these are not in order. Infinite scroll, date, Red. Literally, okay, maybe date reviewed, is there? No. Date Red, ascending, hello. Okay, but these are not in order. Oh, date added, date Red is not. Oh, okay. For some reason, I didn't put date Red for some of these. Okay, I'm gonna put date added. And we'll see. Okay, there we go. This feels like a chronological sort of order. I'm gonna quickly scroll through and we'll take a look and see which one we want to read first. Okay, I think we have to go with Hunger Games because it's the first one I see with caps locks everywhere. And I distinctly remember Hunger Games being the trilogy that really started my love of reading avidly. Like, I had read quite a bit in elementary school, as one does. Like, scholastic book fairs was a thing because I'm from Canada. But in terms of like avidly reading consistently and then posting on Goodreads, definitely was Hunger Games. So let's click on the more, shall we? And let's just take a look and see. Or maybe, you know what? I'll click on the book itself and then we can see like the full screen review. Honestly, oh my lord. Oh my lord. Okay. We're just gonna go for it. Okay, so this is April 14th, 2020. That's not accurate because I read this book in like 2015, so I don't know what's going on there. We're just gonna quickly go to the edit review and we're gonna see July 2015. I read this in 5 days, so that's more accurate. Ignore the, I don't know where that 2020 came from, but let's dive in. This review will be a mixture of spoilers and non-spoilers. I will warn those who haven't read The Hunger Games when I write spoilers. Non-spoilers, for those of you who haven't read. I would give this book 5 stars because the plot was a great idea and interesting to read. However, the writing style of Suzanne Collins at times confused me. Her writing was weak at time. Moving forward. Myself rereading sentences to understand what it said and meant. The characters were phenomenal, each one of them. Katniss. I loved her personality so much, and I think she was great throughout the entire book. In her aid of supporting other characters, she was great. Instead of being some stuck-up girl who thinks she can get all the supplies she needs, she fights for her supplies. And even though she doesn't wound up with any, she still pulls through. Also, since she's not as big as the other tributes, she is still much smarter, which helps her along the way. Body shaming? Okay, Kasia. Peeta. I have to admit, at first, I didn't really like Peeta. I had mixed feelings about him, and I didn't trust him. I found Katniss to get along much better with Gale. However, throughout the chapters, that drastically changes. I won't spell anything here, so I can't really explain why. His personality was also really nice, kind, and easy to fall in love with.
Spoilers! This is final warning for all you newcomers.
Okay, moving forward. Killing each other for the country's fun? To this point, I still don't quite understand why the Hunger Games occur. Okay, taking it a little too seriously, but I feel like Suzanne didn't make that clear for me. Again, fiction. Moving forward. I know she mentioned it in there, so I guess I have to reread that section again. Spoiler alert, I know Kasia did not read that section again. Plot? Great. However, there were parts in the book that made me really sad and unnecessary parts. I adored the relationship between Rue and Katniss. It reminded me of Prim every time, and I feel it was important to understand Katniss's full feelings towards her younger sister through Rue, since we don't see much between Prim and Katniss. Yes, she volunteered herself for her sister, a big thing. Big thing. I'm glad the ancient... Okay. I can't do it anymore. I'm so sorry. This is a long-ass review. So, I'm just going to skip to the ending. The ending! I could hit the book with a hammer about the ending. I got so mad. The book could easily be a standalone book, not a trilogy. However, the ending made it so I would want to read the next book, and I don't like that. Capitalism. I didn't write that part, but I love that. I wish the Hunger Games finished with Katniss and Peeta coming home so we could get a little taste of the reunion. I'm literally acting like my father didn't just buy me the trilogy for me. Like, Kasia, you weren't making money. You weren't spending money on things. Like, relax. But for people who don't plan on reading the entire trilogy, I feel like it's a disappointment for them. And girl, you're gonna read the entire trilogy as we know. So, okay. Love the GIFs. I think the effort is there. The memes, I don't get them because I haven't read The Hunger Games in a while. But I did watch The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I think it's called. I saw that in theaters, and that was a pretty good movie. It makes me kind of want to read the book again, but I also don't think I care enough about this series anymore to really do that. So, interesting. Okay, I think that was a good first review. That gives you an idea of, again, prepubescent Kasia, what was going through her head, how in-depth and emotional I was with characters, which is great. This definitely very much read like an angsty teen review, and I kind of love that, which makes me already know which review I want to read next, because as the moment I said angsty teen, there is a book that I read that I absolutely hated, and I think, if I remember correctly, I wrote a really funny review. Yes, I found it, okay. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. Dear Lord. So just to give you a little context, I grew up in a Catholic school. I would definitely say because of that and just like my own insecurities and growing up overweight, I was definitely a bit of a prude, and which is not a bad thing. Like, you know, to each their own, your body, your choice. I, at this point, was very much averse to anything sexual, any jokes of that matter. Romance in general also kind of freaked me out. It was a whole phase I had, I remember, in high school. As you can tell, this book is shelved under don't read this, which clearly, and I love that. Honestly, if I read this book today, I would probably have similar thoughts for similar reasons. I think I would probably articulate better than I did in 2017, but let's get to it. So for some reason, there's an edit, 2017. Whoa. I already got to the quote and I'm dying, but we're gonna get there in a sec. So, I've become a tougher reviewer and I'm changing this to 1 out of 5 stars. Though it deserves maybe 0.5, but GR doesn't do that. Whoa. I was so excited for this book because so many reviews were saying how amazing this book was and it sounded like a nice plot, but it went downhill for me. I did not like Earl at all. He was just a very rude and unlikable character. I read books for enjoyment, not to see Earl punching Greg in the stomach for no damn reason. And I wasn't a fan of the vulgar language. I'm gonna skip this part because I don't want to get copyrighted or something for children because that's not appropriate, but insert an appropriate line here. Excuse me? Is this really appropriate for a book? I think not. unless you are into that kind of stuff, ... I gave this book 2 stars because, okay, not consistent, you gave it 1 star, but anyways. Number 1, the hardcover is just really pretty and colorful. Also, without the dust jacket, the book itself is really pretty. Kasia, that's not a reason to give a star, but anyways, moving forward. Number 2, I started liking this book towards the end. I like the idea of making a film for Rachel. Whoever the hell that is, I don't know. I think the main reason as to why I didn't like this book is because I'm a true sucker for modern day romances, like All the Bright Places or contemporaries. This book had a lot more potential for me, which it didn't live up to. I can see how others would enjoy this book. Some people may be tired of all the cheesy romances these days, so they liked something different. Okay. But this was too different and not my taste. Also, the humor in this book wasn't really funny. Maybe I just didn't like the jokes, but Earl kept pissing me off and just, ugh. The happiest part for me was to finish this book. Honestly, the happiest part for me was to finish this review. Cause like, okay, here's the thing. We love and appreciate what 16-year-old me was doing, right? She read a book, she didn't like it, she wanted to let you know why she didn't like it. But then at the same time, number 1, I gave it 1 out of 5 stars, and then halfway through the review, I'm like, actually, I give it 2 stars. So clearly I didn't do any thinking through on my part, which is fine. Like, I'm just being picky for shits and gigs. But I understand the whole don't judge a book by its cover, relevant. But at the same time, we judge a book by its cover. It's natural, it's human. It's not a reason why you give a star to a book, I'm sorry. Like, I've learned my lesson to not buy books based on aesthetic, or honestly just stop buying books in general because I have way too many. These books are not even mine. These are a combination of, I think, a little bit of mine, mainly my roommates, but I have way too many books on my own. It's a little ridiculous. But that was fun. That was interesting. Let's do a deeper dive into the brain of, again, prepubescent Kasia. Okay, we're just gonna do an honorable mention for The Giving Tree because there's actually a story behind this review, but we're gonna get into the review first. So, love this book, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. If you don't know what The Giving Tree is, you definitely are also living under a rock, sorry to say, but this is a very popular children's book about a boy who keeps going to a tree, and the tree just keeps on giving and giving and giving as the boy's growing older. And it's supposed to be this like bigger commentary on how we like use other people, and we don't always recognize like how much their effort for us kind of like hurts them, and you know, blah blah blah. It's a kid's book, right? I gave it, again, 5 out of 5 stars. This is my review.
Sad emotions. People hate this book. They cannot fathom.
People get way too much into the meaning of this story. This poem has ambiguous meanings, and yes, the boy is selfish, but remember, you need the darkness to see the stars. ... The boy's selfishness and greed highlights the love and selflessness of the tree. So to all of you freaking out via Jiffy, simmer down. I don't know what that reference is. I didn't even watch SNL. Why the heck did I put this? But the funny story behind this, if I can find it, I would show you, but there was someone who gave a 1-star review of this book, which again, fair. You do you. You don't like the book for whatever reason, fine. That was not okay with 17-year-old me. I took it very personally, and all I remember is getting into a fight with this lady, and she called me some very interesting things over the internet, which, looking back on it now, was I a little extra? Perhaps. But I'm also like a 16-year-old child. This is grown adults that were fighting with teenagers on the internet over a kid's book. So if anyone needs to get their priorities reassessed, it's definitely this lady. Her name was Sarah. Again, I don't know. I remember she wrote like something about being codependent with the tree. I don't know if we'll be able to, maybe she blocked me. Maybe I blocked her. Honestly, it's possible. I don't see anything here now. I'm just looking through 1-star reviews of this book and a lot of people talking about codependency. Which again, like, fair, but also, this is a kid's book. I don't think the kids are gonna understand. It should be called a codependent tree. See, now, like, again, as an adult, I can look back on the reviews like this and laugh. But I remember at the time I was so upset and I took it so personally. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it now. If I ever do, maybe I'll make another video on it. But I had to bring this one up because I think it's really funny. Okay, let's pick one more review. Looking through, I see some of my favorites, which are not going to be as fun to read.
So let me see if I can find something
All right, I found it, y'all. I see the caps locks, and I'm like, we're locked in. So this is actually the sequel of a book. So I apologize that we're not going to read the review of the first book. If you've read Stranger Dreamer, you know what it's about. I don't need to explain. If you haven't read Stranger Dreamer, it's been a while since I've read it, but from what I do remember, it's about this guy named Laszlo who basically finds out about this secret world. Something along those lines. My memory is terrible, and I should know better because this is apparently one of my favorite books of all time. But again, teenage me was very enthusiastic, very excited. So I read the first book. I remember I was camping with my dad, and I absolutely fell in love with the book. And I was like, you know what? I need to get my hands on the second book immediately. And this book actually came out right around the time I had started working at Indigo. So I think this was like one of the first books I ever bought with my discount, if I remember correctly. But I already see the first line of this review, so let's just go right into it. I fucking need this book so much, and I literally did not wait to get my hands on this book. You guys, oh my freaking goodness. If I thought I was over the moon in love with Stranger Dreamer, then Muse of Nightmares has brought new meaning to loving a book. I love this book as if it were my own child. It was just everything that I wanted that I didn't even know that I wanted. So we start out with two new characters, Cora and Nova, sisters. There is definitely a tragic backstory. I was so here for it. I almost cried reading their story. The love that these two sisters share for each other and the lengths that they will go through to help each other is simply breathtaking. One of these sisters turned out to be a very pivotal person from the first book, and a lot of the puzzle pieces start to click. Okay, we're just gonna keep going because this is a long review, and I don't want to bore us here. But as you can see, I was very into it. There's a spoiler, so I just unblurred it. So if you don't want to be spoiled about this, definitely do not read that. And then the ending, Lady Taylor has such a unique way of telling a story, much like Patrick Rothfuss. You are 100% encapsulated into this world these authors create for us, and we never ever want to leave. And with that, I leave this review with the biggest smile on my face, awaiting more. Okay, slay. That was kind of a cute one to end off on. Again, this is 2018, so I would have been like 17 at the time, so a little bit older. I think we can tell that I'm articulating myself a little bit better as these reviews have progressed. I'd like to think now my reviews are more short, sweet, and to the point, and sometimes I don't even leave a review because I'm just tired or the book wasn't meaningful enough to me to leave a review. But I really like having this sort of time capsule to look back on, especially because reading has been such a big and significant part of my life and growing up, and I continue to really engage in this hobby and passion of mine. So I'm really grateful to myself to have these memories and have these logs. I think it's just really funny to read some of the old ones and look back at how like maybe silly and naive I used to be, and also how sweet and innocent as well. I think it's definitely a double-edged sword. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in any other sort of Goodreads inspired content, please feel free to leave a comment below, or any other video ideas that you'd like to see from me. I am so grateful to those of you who are watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.